は杖で来れたんですけど、もうここからの階段は上がれなかったので、お友達に私の分も拝んできてくださいって頼んで。
Her limbs have weakened further over the years due to cerebral palsy. But today she finally makes it to the main shrine, thanks to these gentlemen called hospitality helpers.
学生を中心とした車椅子でのこの内宮参拝っていうプロジェクトを始めたのがきっかけですので、ボランティアとして本当に学生さん高校生を中心として集めたのがきっかけです。もう約10年ほど前になります。
There's been a renewed recognition for their service, which costs just under $20. The Japanese government has been trying to support barrier-free tourism, that to coincide with the Tokyo Olympic Games and Paralympic Games, which was initially expected in 2020, but that's been postponed. But it's not just for foreign visitors that Japan embraces the idea of accessible tourism. Ayumi Noguchi, who founded a local non-profit organization to form a network of those willing to work together to expand barrier-free tourism in Mie Prefecture.
全国的にバリアフリーのこういった相談センターっていうものも増えてきてまして、障害者高齢者のことを考えた観光情報発信であるとか、バリアフリーに整えていかなくちゃいけないよっていうのが国を挙げて、そういう方向に行っているので。
The former local magazine editor is lobbying hotels, inns, restaurants to take advantage of government subsidies to make their facilities barrier-free, such as replacing steps. Hinode Ryokan, which opened in 1929, is one of those going through a transformation. It started with this guest room.
このお部屋は和室2間を一つにしたお部屋なんですけども、一番古いお部屋であまりお客様にも使いにくいお部屋だったので。
The toilet is now wheelchair friendly, while the shower has been converted for those who cannot stand.
いいものが一つあるから他のものもどんどん良くなっていくっていうことで、毎年毎年どこかしらの改修工事をしたり。
The new features have helped boost the inn's occupancy rate to 80% from 10% previously. The economic benefits are what motivates local governments like Mie Prefecture, where the inn is to embrace barrier-free tourism. Demand for accessible attractions has surged in recent years due to the country's fast aging population. Even though COVID-19 has, for now, stood in the way of Japan's efforts to promote barrier-free tourism, the volunteers at Ise Shrine say they hardly received any requests for their help this year. With the pandemic still raging, visitors want to avoid a situation where they will be required to speak with someone in close proximity. Michio Ishida, CNA, Mie Prefecture.
It's a celestial phenomenon not seen in nearly 400 years. Planets Jupiter and Saturn drew closer to each other in what's been called the Great Conjunction.
Tonight, we actually go all the way back to 1623. They haven't been this close since 1623.
From our vantage point on Earth, Jupiter and Saturn were so closely aligned they almost seemed to be one single star in the sky. Well, stargazers were treated to this once-in-a-lifetime illusion, also dubbed the Christmas star. The rare spectacle happened to coincide with yesterday's winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. Asia Now continues in the next hour. We'll check the top stories, including more countries shutting their borders to the UK as it struggles with a new highly infectious strain of COVID-19. Plus, Indonesian President Joko Widodo introduces 6 new ministers. The cabinet reshuffle comes as the government deals with criticism over its coronavirus response. We'll have Chatni Vatvani live from Jakarta with all the details.
Look forward to brighter skies. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
We want to see the best of the best go up against one another, and that's why we get esports.
Do it, Doom! You can do it! Finish him off!
We wanted to deliver over the internet. That's why we named the company Netflix.
Keep them as long as you want, without late fee.
Nobody really believed that this was a legitimate business.
The first Chinese tech titan to straddle this global world.
It was, as a technological achievement, spectacular.
This is like the iPhone of 1902.
Enjoy your favorite program.
Home video was about to take off on a global basis.
The most talked about internet company in the world.
Yeah, that's a department store.
This irrational problem with fashion. Can we create a solution for that?
We have been able for the first time to replicate meat.
Re-engineer what our cooks do in the kitchen.
Ahead of Their Time starts 5th January, Tuesday on CNA.
Malaysia is seeing what many are calling a new dawn. I'm here to make sense of these changes taking place and bring you stories from a country that's charting a new direction for its future. Years ago, CNA Kuala Lumpur.
This is Asia Now.
It's 6 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 3:30 in New Delhi, and 5 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Otelia Edwards. At this hour, Indonesian President Joko Widodo announces the appointment of 6 new ministers as part of a long-anticipated cabinet shakeup. Taiwan reports its first locally transmitted COVID-19 infection in more than 8 months. The UK and France work to ease border restrictions that have snarled one of Europe's most important trade routes. Singapore joins a growing list of countries to impose curbs on UK travellers. A shake-up in Indonesian President Joko Widodo's cabinet. Mr. Jokowi has just introduced 6 new ministers on his YouTube channel. This comes as 2 ministers face graft charges and the country grapples with COVID-19 setbacks. For the very latest on this, Chani Vadvani joins us right now. So Chani, tell us more about these new appointments and the fact that the cabinet reshuffle came today at this time was pretty sudden, wasn't it?
Well, to be honest, there has been much speculation about a potential cabinet reshuffle. We've had President Joko Widodo also previously having already made a statement saying that he will not hesitate to take aggressive measures in terms of reshuffling his cabinet should he be unhappy with the way things currently are being handled. So after much speculation, President Widodo finally reshuffled his cabinet and announced 6 new appointments. And the 3 appointments grabbing attention is firstly the new health minister appointment. Deputy Minister of State-Owned Enterprises Budi Gunadi Sadikin is the new health minister. Remember, there have been mounting public calls for the dismissal of who will now be former health minister Terawan Agus Putranto over his alleged incompetence in handling the COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. Now, calls for his dismissal can be traced back all the way to the month of March, where he was previously famously known for asking people to pray to keep the coronavirus at bay. New minister Mr. Budi also leads the National Economic Recovery Task Force, and there will be high hopes riding on him to lead an effective vaccination, mass vaccination and post-COVID strategy. Now, second on that list of attention-grabbing ministers is now former Surabaya Mayor Tri Risma Harini, who will be the new Social Affairs Minister. Madam Risma, as she's popularly called, is widely known to be hardworking and clean, credited with transforming much of Surabaya, Indonesia's second most popular province. Also worth keeping in mind that she will be replacing the former Social Affairs Minister who has been dismissed over his involvement in graft. Third, we have businessman Sandiaga Uno, who is the new Minister for Tourism and the Creative Economy. Remember, Mr. Sandiaga was a former deputy governor of Jakarta and also vice presidential candidate in the last presidential elections. Now, his business acumen will come in handy in kickstarting the tourism sector, which is a key forex earner for Indonesia. Now, the remaining three new ministers, of course, we have Yakut Khalil Qomas, who is